Promoter Frank Warren. How are we, sir? How are we?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, Frank, we were just talking actually about Daniel Dubois. We were talking about how you have been with him every step of the journey, turned professional at 19 years old. It's been up, it's been down, but it has to be up on Saturday night.
It does. You know, he's got to win this fight. He's got to win it in style, and he's got to shoulder doubters. He does have a desire and he has heart, and that's really what it's about for him. We know he's got the skills, and he's just got to show the determination to get back into the position he should be in, which is up there with the best.
Well, you've been in those meetings with him. I've seen him, come into the office, you sit down, you have a little chat, as you do with all the fighters. When you've had that kind of one-on-one time with him, when you've reflected on the Usyk fight, for example, what are those conversations like? And are you seeing that fire in him?
He seems pretty positive today. Oh, he's been positive all week. It's when we get to the dressing room on the night, that's when it matters. You know, people can wake up one day and feel different than they did the following day. With a fighter, it's really important that on the night of the fight that everything is positive and that you're in the frame of mind to be a winner. He wants to be a winner. I think he is a winner, and he has to go out now and do this in style.
Well, it's interesting, you can see Dubois on the screen now. I think he's got a new energy drink sponsor there in hype. But I'll tell you, if he is able to knock out Jarell Miller, who is unbeaten, who has been talking for years and years, that could make this guy a superstar on Saturday night, Frank.
Well, look, it's there for him to do. We provided him the platform. We've worked very hard with him outside of the ring and provided these opportunities. He's very, very capable, I said. You've seen him at his best. At his best, he's an unbelievable fighter. But you're only as good as your last fight. And that's the bottom line of it. So he's got to do this job in style, got to be positive, and he's got to go and come. As soon as that first bell goes, he's got to take the centre of the ring, and he's got to be the boss. Get behind his jab and just keep backing Miller up, backing him up, and letting those right hands go.
Do you feel like he understands that now is the time?
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't, then he doesn't understand my language. I mean, as we're talking, I've emphasised this to him much more than I could do. I know his trainer's done the same. This is it. This is where we're at now. He's got to go out and show what he's all about.
I think people are forgetting, for the Usyk fight, he'd only just got with Don Charles. They didn't have very long. Suddenly they were fighting Alexander Usyk for 3 belts. Now they've had an extra camp together. They've had that learning together. How much can this additional time with Don Charles help?
Well, it will obviously help. There's no doubt about that. But he could have won that last fight. He could have won it, and he needed grit his teeth, and he would have won it. I know the referee absolutely phased him and took a lot of his concentration away. But look, that's boxing, and he now has to go and make a statement. It's as simple as that. I mean, look at him. He's a unit.
He's an absolute unit. Look, Alexander Usyk found that out.
Yeah. And he hurt him. And you've not seen him hurt like that in a pro fight. I haven't anyway.
Absolutely. No, it doesn't sound like you've never doubted his ability, have you? You've never doubted that the athletic raw materials are there. It's just the minerals, really.
Look, from day one, we signed him at a very young age. We were involved with him before he was old enough to turn professional. And the reports we got, like some of the fighters, big name fighters, much more mature than him, who he was involved with. How you doing, big man?
Here comes the big baby.
Just talking.
Grab that.
And we're talking in the early days when he knocked over some seriously big names, put them out, knocked them out, and he was a kid, 17 years of age.
So, Jarell Miller, we were just talking about Daniel Dubois with Frank Warren there, and how this is now or never for Daniel, and obviously you're going to try and make sure it's never.
Yeah, I mean, we put all the tactics aside. Yeah, it's a both do or die fight for both of us. I'm back on redemption. He's coming off a great loss because it wasn't a horrible loss. It was a great loss. He lost to a good guy and Usyk. But the problem is how he lost in the way towards the end. He kind of gave up, that aggressive behavior he had in the middle rounds. That's what I'm going to capitalize on.
And Frank, how does Jarell Miller shape up to you? This is the man in the way of Daniel Dubois.
He's not fighting me. He looks fit. He looks very fit. He looks well. And it's going to be a tough fight. He knows that. Deep down, he knows he's in a tough fight. It's going to be a real good quality fight. It's a quality matchup. And the winner of this fight will go on and be involved in the next stage of what we're doing here. Everything here to be grabbed for both of them. Massive incentive for both of them.
Yeah, and I have to give Frank Warren a lot of props, man. Like, it's a great card. It's a great matchup with two hungry guys. And the thing about it, too, is, listen, bro, it's the end of the year. How's the best way to end the holidays on Christmas? And Frank Warren did a great, amazing job by, picking up the phone and said, listen, you want to fight? I said, shit, let's get it on. Hey, made it happen.
And you've enjoyed this week, Jarell. And we've enjoyed you as well. You've been around the heavyweights. You've been livening things up. You've been confronting people in hotel lobbies.
Correct.
Have you had fun?
Oh, yeah, I gotta have fun. I mean, the minute you don't see me smiling, there's a problem. That's when you gotta back up, because I'm serious. But if I'm smiling, having fun, that's part of boxing. If you can't have fun in this game, get out of it. And same thing I do in the ring. When I'm getting hit in the face on blocking shots, I'm actually having fun, believe it or not. So that's what I continue to keep doing, be entertaining, let the fans know Big Baby's still here. Shit happens in life, but hey, keep pushing on.
Frank, what do you think Daniel Dubois' game plan should be against this guy?
I'm not going to tell you.
Listen. I'll tell you one thing. Don't bet your house on Dubois.
That's a big statement. He said, don't bet your house on Daniel Dubois.
Listen. Frank likes me already. He got options on my next fight. Don't worry about it. So he knows what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Tell me, Jarell, we're looking at Daniel Dubois on the screen there. He's getting his hands wrapped. He's been he's been pretty relaxed all week. He's surprised me. He's been quite chatty in interviews. What have you made of Daniel Dubois?
I mean, he's always been a pretty simple, quiet guy. I look more in the eyes. The eyes twitch a lot. He kind of doesn't really focus on one thing, you know what I mean? So I read him. I'm not going to say certain things about him, but I understand his mentality already. But nothing really about him really stands out to me at all, man. Other than that, he got 2 losses. He's a little chinny and his heart suspect, so we're going to capitalize over that.
Are you expecting a long night, a quick night? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, it all depends. It depends on how he starts off, really. If he starts off fast, he's going to end early. If he starts off slow, he's going to end a little later. It all depends on what he starts off with, really. I'm going to dictate my pace over him. I'm the kind of guy that I kind of feel you out a couple rounds, see how I feel, then I beat you up.
I saw the video earlier this week where you were at the buffet, you were eating shrimp, and you were referring to the shrimp as Daniel Dubois. Yeah. What's that about?
His brain is a shrimp. I guarantee we cut his head open, his brain's gonna be the size of a shrimp. You know what I mean? The IQ of a walnut. So like I tell you said before, brother, Big Baby ain't nothing to play with. And I'm gonna attack every part of him, even the mental part.
So if he's a shrimp, what sea-based creature is Jarell Miller?
I'm more like a shark. He's more like a plankton, you know what I mean? So,
Fantastic. Jarell, brilliant having you here.
Thank you,
Frank,
guys.
we'll just keep you for a little bit longer. Jarell, we're just going to let you go. Oh, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Mate.
I was afraid. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, no problem.
Frank, I just want to keep you on... Just talk about the main event fights. Anthony Joshua against Wallin, Deontay Wilder, of course, against Joseph Parker. What have you made of Anthony Joshua, one of the most scrutinised athletes in the world? What have you made of his demeanour this week? Anthony Joshua.
What he's really asking, Frank, is what did you make of his treatment of Dev yesterday?
Look, I've never been around him for a big fight. He's not one of our guys. All fighters are different. Some are nice and relaxed, like Tyson. Some guys, they're pretty moody and brusque, and that's how it seems he is this week. Or maybe he just don't like you, I don't know. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, don't matter. Don't matter whether you like him or he likes you. All it's about is being professional and doing your job. He's got to be professional and do his job in the ring. You've got to do your job out here. And you do a great job. It's been brilliant. And you've got to just rise above that nonsense. All that matters is there's a fight on Saturday. And he's got more to worry about than you. He's got to worry about a Wallin who fancies the job.
Well, in terms of that, it is Wallin on Saturday night. But as you say, there's been this clip out there with me. There's been the hotel lobby altercation with Jarell Miller where they're kind of brought apart a little bit. It feels like there's maybe distractions out there when Otto Wallin's the guy who's going to be trying to beat him on Saturday.
I don't know about all that. Look, that's the fight game. All this stuff that goes on outside the ring means nothing. Once that first bell goes, you got your opponent in front of you, and that's all you got to worry about. And if you're distracted before the fight through someone else, then I'm telling you, you shouldn't be in the ring in the first place.
What about Deontay Wilder? He's a man that you have been around for a number of fights. Of course, the Tyson Fury trilogy. this time, for this fight, he seems so at peace from what I've seen. He's got quite an energy about him. Have you detected a change in Deontay Wilder?
I have actually. He seems more at ease with himself. From what I know of him, he seems more at ease, seems very relaxed. He's got a tough fight. You know, Joe Parker, he's a competitor. He comes to fight. He's only been stopped once in his career, and he's won his last fight and won it in good style. And if you think about, you know, who he trains with all the time, who he hangs out with, which is Tyson, he'll be picking up tips from him as well. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I think both of the joint main events, I think they have tough fights.
I agree that there's a bit of a change in Wilder. Did you think that's come about because when you've been knocking everybody out and winning all your fights, and then all of a sudden, twice in a row, he got beaten and he got stopped both times, you have to find a way to deal with it? And I think that's probably why he's a different person now.
I think he struggled. You know, the first fight against Tyson, he generally felt that it was all over in that last round. And when Tyson got up and took the fight to him and came by the end of the round, was back on top, I think that took a lot out of him. The second fight, Tyson just done a job, as we all see. And the third fight, bringing on his new trainer, I think done a good job with him, Malik Scott, an excellent job. That was a tough fight for both of them. Tyson prevailed at the end. But, you know, he's a tough guy, and it's going to be interesting to see what that fight has taken out of him. It's 2 years ago. He's had a win since, but, you know, mentally, what is that up there? What is in his head?
Well, we're looking at Joseph Parker on the screen. I just want to ask you, you were, of course, ringside for his epic battle with Joe Joyce, where Joe Joyce overcame him in the end. But I felt like we learned something about Joe Parker that night. He was very tough, he was very game, and for a while he wouldn't go away.
No, not at all. I mean, that was a great fight, great performance by Joe. Joe took shots in that fight, but a great performance by him. And Joe Parker comes to fight. And all these guys are basically at a stage of their career where they cannot afford the loss. They need to win, and that's why it's such a great card.
Yeah, and perhaps no more so than Daniel Dubois there, who, once again, there are questions out there about him. We've talked about it, though, and he looks like he's very relaxed. We've just seen him smile. We've just seen him snarl. Are you happy with what you've seen from Daniel Dubois this week?
It seems all okay to me. You know, he's just had basically just a little move around in the ring now. Yeah, that's all. All the hard work was done last week. This week, it's a waiting game. You know, countdown time every day. You just wanted to get it over with. You just want to get to the night, get to the fight. That's what everybody's waiting for, and that's what they want. They hate all this hanging around, all this media stuff and everything. All they want to do is do what they're paid to do, which is fight. And that's what Daniel wants. And then once that bell goes, we're going to see what he's got.
It feels like, from speaking to him this week, what happened with Alexander Usyk, that can be something that either breaks you or makes you.
Correct.
And it feels like the latter for Daniel.
We'll find out. I know I keep saying it. We'll find out on Saturday.